When I'm on stage, show me boobies. Catch it. Ice on my neck, on the coolest.
Are you kidding me? Is this a vindication?
The things is your girl Queen Dee Dee with Dee Dee Said It. Want to bring you just a quick story, just in case you're out there in that world doing any of this. Food stamp scammers getting caught. It's on the rise. This story is brought to you from Eyewitness News 9. Let's listen in to what's going on with food stamp fraud. This video is 11 minutes and 40 seconds long. I'm going to give him 3 minutes of my time.
Taxpayers will lose this year because of growing public assistance fraud.
It's awful. 4 years ago, the state implemented new technology relying on a series of questions during the online application process. Investigative reporter Darlene Jones asked why the multi-million-dollar program hasn't seemed to help.
This arrest affidavit describes the owner of the hay meat market in Ocala as a woman who took taxpayers for more than $1 million. We spent hours trying to find her. The meat market is now for sale. Her home in Gainesville just sold to new owners. Her alleged customers, Letitia Johnson and Marcia Mason, were arrested last month for felony welfare fraud. Both have pleaded not guilty.
Marcia? Darlene Jones with Channel 9. Can we talk to you about the...
She threatened to call police.
Why were you selling your food stamps?
Investigators believe Johnson and Mason sold their food stamps to the market's owner for 50 cents on the dollar.
You're right, it is taxpayer money that's being stolen.
Jack Heacock heads the Public Assistance Fraud Division at the Florida Department of Financial Services. For 3 years, he's been responsible for battling this growing trend statewide. Food stamp fraud topped $12 million last year. Already, 559 cases uncovered in the first 3 months of this year, costing taxpayers $4.2 million.
I think it's the online application, that the ease of access to public assistance benefits kind of encourages people to give it a shot.
Records provided to us by the state attorney's offices throughout Central Florida show a majority of cases aren't prosecuted. Defendants are typically offered plea deals, sent through diversion programs or probation. Public assistance fraud is a felony and can come with 5 years in prison. We could find few cases in which that actually happened.
People need to know they can go to jail for that. It's all dependent upon our state attorneys.
Eric Fanote and Quinteria Williams could be the exception. They pleaded not guilty to public assistance fraud, accused of filing nearly 800 food stamp applications using stolen identities and selling them to the former owner of this Apopka grocery store for cash.
Well, Marcia.
Back in Ocala, although Marcia Mason didn't want to talk, this man came out of her home, suggesting everybody cheats the system.
Taxpayer, you feel me? They skin they down self, you feel me? Y'all skimmers too.
Darlene Jones, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
Federal investigators would not provide details on why the store owners still have not been arrested or confirm or deny any ongoing investigation. DCF told us the feds forced them to allow applicants to opt out of a series of questions that helped weed out fraud shortly after that new technology was installed 4 years ago. However, the agency has still stopped $669 million worth of public assistance fraud since then, and that's what they are proud of.
An investment is underway involving the alleged misuse of tens of thousands of dollars. The money was apparently taken using false information and fraudulent paperwork. Call 6 Chief Investigator Rafael Sanchez joins us with the details about those dollars.
Erica, good evening. Despite all the checks and balances, one couple accused of cashing in on programs set up to help families struggling financially. Nicole and Sam Britt came to court each with their own attorney. The couple accused of ripping off programs meant to serve the neediest in the state. Call 6 Investigates obtained records that show the couple was accused of being involved in fraud and theft dating back to January 2013. Nicole Britt allegedly told the state she was unemployed or working part-time to get food stamps and assistance for child care services. In fact, Britt at the time was working full-time for the Indianapolis Housing Agency. The total she and her husband are accused of illegally obtaining nearly $113,000. The Indianapolis Housing Agency cut ties with Nicole in February 2016. As part of the fraud accusations, federal investigators say she forged documentation claiming she was only working part-time. The IHA supervisor, whose name appears on the documentation, had no knowledge of the paperwork allegedly doctored to get welfare. Britt reportedly confessed in a letter to the state, saying she had submitted fraudulent documents and said yes to using work equipment to commit fraud. Despite all the checks done on recipients statewide, in 2017, there were 320 substantiated cases of food stamp fraud, totaling more than $1 million. Also last year, there were 58 cases of fraud statewide involving the child care program, totaling more than $176,000. So that's the big picture. In this case, I requested an interview with the couple, now set to go on trial in June. Nicole Britt's lawyer said, in his own words, "We have no comments regarding the case at this time." The lawyer for Samuel Britt texted me saying, "Decline to comment." And you can take action on this. Any dollar that's misused does not make it to a family who needs it the most. You can report welfare fraud by calling 1-800-403-0864. Erica?
We broke the story last night about a Department of Human Services employee facing welfare fraud charges. Tonight, we're learning new details about the case and Sierra Selden Ruffin's status at the agency. 24-hour News 8's Danny Carlson is live with what we know tonight. Danny?
Well, Sue, we have been able to confirm that Sierra Selden Ruffin is off the job tonight, suspended without pay until the felony case against her wraps up. We also learned that all of this started through a DHS investigation, and that is what led to the criminal charges. Do you think the fact that she worked at DHS affected the DHS internal investigation at all?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty standard process for the DHS investigators to go through investigating whoever it might be, and they tend to handle all those investigations. Anything of a more serious nature, or a violent crime or a crime against a person, I'm sure we would handle an investigation for them.
The fraud in itself, according to Michigan State Police Lieutenant Chris McIntyre, is not all that uncommon. So far this year, Michigan State Police in Kent, Ottawa, and Muskegon counties have handled 29 cases of welfare fraud. Sierra Selden Ruffin's is the only case involving a DHS employee.
I don't think we have a kind of systemic problem within DHS. This is just a person that violated the rules, and they've got to pay the same consequences as anybody else would have to.
Selden Ruffin is accused of applying for welfare last year, then not reporting changes in her household income, including not telling DHS that she was getting checks from family members. Both of those things contributed to her bottom line, meaning the state says she took home nearly $3,000 in welfare benefits she wasn't entitled to.
Maintain your trust in the Department of Human Services. They're doing the right thing all the time, and this is one person, and you certainly can't judge an agency as large as they are based on the mistakes and poor judgment of one person.
Now, we did speak with the DHS spokesperson to ask if the suspect's mom, who is the current Kent County Director of Child Welfare, if she was the subject of any investigation. We didn't get a firm answer either way tonight. Sierra Selden Ruffin is due back in court December 2nd, and she could face up to 4 years in prison if convicted. Live in Grand Rapids tonight, Danny Carlson, 24-hour News 8.
A big food stamp bust. The Attorney General announces charges for a group accused of spending millions in Metro Detroit by using fraudulent EBT cards. Thank you for joining us this noon. I'm Rhonda Walker, and Attorney General Dana Nessel says that these charges just scratch the surface of this scheme and just how vast it is. Pamela Osborne is following the story for us with new information on how this all worked. Pamela.
Rhonda, this was quite sophisticated. 8,000 EBT cardholders had their information and money from their accounts taken. That money was spent here to fund purchases at Sam's Club stores all across southeastern Michigan. In all, investigators say this ring was responsible for making $4 million in fraudulent purchases. The unusual activity was first reported to state officials last year. The AG's newly formed Force team, which is in partnership with Michigan State Police, investigated. 3 people were arrested and arraigned on federal charges last week. And here's what AG Dana Nessel is saying about the reach of this enterprise and how they profited.
What happens in Michigan doesn't tend to stay in Michigan. And what we see more often than not in these types of cases is that you will have oftentimes victims over multiple states, but also that the merchandise travels.
And so the majority of those 8,000 people who had money taken from their EBT accounts, they actually are residents of California. There were some residents here in the state of Michigan and other states as well. And again, investigators are saying this is still an ongoing investigation. They fully anticipate that more people will face these federal charges down the road as this investigation continues. For now, reporting live in Detroit, I'm Pamela Osborne, Local 4.
According to court documents, 6 women in Allen County are responsible for stealing and misusing food stamp funds. It all started after the food stamp program mistakenly gave one of those women an extra $3,000 in her account. News Channel 15's Randy Spieth joins us live tonight from the newsroom with more. Randy?
Yeah, Mark, investigators say this happened after a power outage last summer, and that the funds were used between July and September of last year. Now the 6 women responsible are all facing felony theft charges. A probable cause affidavit says 22-year-old Dana Freeman of Fort Wayne is facing theft and corrupt business influence charges for her involvement in illegally using food stamps. It was her electronic benefit card used to pay for groceries with food stamps that received an extra $3,000 due to an error last July. That same day, the Family and Social Services Administration caught the error and asked Freeman to come to the office to fix the problem. But these court documents say she never showed up. Instead, it says over the next several weeks, Freeman and several others illegally used the extra food stamps at several stores in Fort Wayne. Some of the funds were sold to others. This document says Freeman sold $300 in food stamps to Betty Anderson for $150. Anderson is the director of the voucher program at Fort Wayne's Housing Authority.
We will do an internal investigation, not so much because we think that some of our funds may or may not be involved. I don't think that's the case at all. We have no reason to believe that.
The Housing Authority's executive director has worked with Anderson for 15 years, and he expects to discuss this issue with her when she returns to work later this week.
I don't know if the issue was correct. We believe the person is innocent until proven guilty in this country, and that's the premise that I'm going to go forward on.
We did try to reach out to the state's Family and Social Services Administration. Spokesperson there did tell us that no one can comment while a criminal investigation is ongoing. Reporting live from the newsroom tonight, I'm Randy Spieth for News Channel 15.
Tonight, and we asked if the suspect's mom, who is the current Kent County Director of Child Welfare, if she was the subject of any investigation. We didn't get a...
The whole state of Alabama is on edge right now.
We have some breaking news about a missing 3.
$19 million. That's how much the state predicts taxpayers will lose this year because of growing public assistance fraud.
It's awful.
I mean, I really don't even have nothing to say about this story because it's so good to see that they went in a neighborhood to find a little bit of fraud. I mean, which don't even put a dent in the real systems, losses. I mean, why don't you go into the real places that's actually taking money? You think it really started with those low ballers? No way in hell. You think it started at this little damn corner convenience store? Oh, stop it, people. You guys know good and well it comes up way higher than that. Stop acting like you don't know this type of fraud didn't come from the top. Stop getting down to the bottom and then thinking you done resolved the damn case. You know food stamp fraud and all kind of taxpayer fraud and all kind of state fraud and all kind of county line fraud and all kind of edges fraud and all kind of B2B fraud and all kind of hair wig fraud, all kind of hair weave fraud, all kind of bad haircut fraud. Y'all know all that damn fraud come from somewhere else. Stop going into black neighborhoods and digging up all the dirt you're gonna dig up and then don't think that there's other kinds that's stealing too. Just like that young man said, man, everybody committing fraud. While you're sitting here watching this damn video, you're twiddling your fingers thinking about the next fraud scam. That don't just come out the black community. It damn sure just don't come out the white community. Man, y'all got all these foreigners out here committing more fraud than we can have hair weave made for glue. Y'all stop acting like this is just something so, oh my God, it's so prevalent. I can't believe this is going on. I can't believe we've lost $1 million this year. That's why that lady said, oh, we're just glad that we saved $69 million. I mean, okay, I get it. You lost 1.5 million. I mean, which one would you rather save? 69 million or 1.5? You want to save 69 million or you rather lose 1.5 million? I mean, make it make sense, airheads. I mean, a bunch of bobbleheads that just bring a news story to someone and then wrap it up in the bow tie just as cute as they want to do it. What a bow tie. I mean, how much fraud you think these two had? I mean, think about that. How much fraud do you think those two really had? I mean, how much fraud do you see them committing? How much food stamps you think they really sold? They damn sure didn't sell. They didn't get rid of millions of dollars worth. We definitely know he didn't. And I'm looking into her. She's very suspect. I mean, come on. There's nothing really to say here. Okay, food stamp scammers getting caught. I mean, did the food stamp scammers really get caught? Do you really think the food stamp scammers got caught? You really think it was that easy for the food stamp scammers to get caught? Or do you think it was that easy to post a story about the food stamp scammers getting caught? Because the ones that you need to go up against, like the governors of your own goddamn states of Florida, DeSantis, y'all are the one committing all the damn fraud, and y'all know that. I mean, and then you come and live in Florida. You can't even live in Florida no more. You basically got to live inside your tire shell. I mean, you got rules over here and rules over there, but the rules only apply to certain people. Y'all forgot to tell the story about the man with him and his wife, millionaires. They around here collecting food stamp fraud. I mean, y'all collecting food stamp fraud. Y'all live in the mansion and y'all out getting caught on y'all boat. Should I post any of those stories? Because it seems like y'all busted all the people right here with food stamp fraud, but you didn't show any of the millionaire or the people in the other communities that's been having access to food stamp fraud, that's been committing food stamp fraud, that created food stamp fraud, that's living amongst food stamp fraud, that's goddamn eating my food right now off of food stamp fraud. I mean, I could barely even get me no Kool-Aid these days. I mean, make it make sense to me, y'all. This what y'all brought to me? I thought y'all was bringing me something different. Man, I'm not even going to go any further with this story. But what I might do is add a little addition to it. How about that? This is your girl, Queen Dee Dee, with Dee Dee Said It. Food stamp fraud. Get to know me. It's a little piece.
Boxes of evidence from the Pines of Orlando Market, a small grocery store in Pine Hills. At about the same time, the owner, Ashraf Ismail, is taken into custody, accused of exchanging food stamps for cash.
If you participate in this, we're coming after you.
Investigators with Florida's Department of Finance.
Yeah, Nalina, Ahmed El-Shami appeared in Erie County Court today. It's a case that Lovejoy residents have followed closely because of his ties to a corner deli that has been the subject of controversy in the past. 37-year-old Ahmad El-Shami of Buffalo has been sentenced to 6 months in jail and 5 years probation in connection with a welfare fraud case.
He has been incarcerated for approximately 8 months, so he has enough time in now to successfully be discharged.
I apologize from everybody.
In April, El-Shami, who operated a corner deli on Ludington Street in the city, pleaded guilty to misuse of food stamps. He admitted buying.
She's present today with counsel, Mr. Spelcy and Mr. Edwards. She's previously entered a plea of guilty to 3 felonies of the 3rd degree and a felony of the 4th degree, counts 1, 3, 7, and 9. Court and counsel reviewed the PSI and prepared to pass sentence. The state is present and has provided a sentencing memorandum, as has the defense. Would the defense like the state to go first, or would you like to go first?
Judge, we'd like the state to go first, if that's okay.
Okay, you can stay at the podium. Mr. Meyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Matthew Meyer on behalf of the state. And I'm joined here with me today by...
I know I'm an adult, but I just felt maybe I was brainwashed.
What was your relationship with your co-defendant?
She was just would go to her home, and I was just her worker. We never had a relationship like that.
And how did this idea come about to do this?
She asked me.
The thing that's very troubling, that I'm sure you understand, is that you were in a position of trust, and you were essentially doing the services on behalf of the people in this county that go to work every day, some of whom struggle to pay their bills and feed their children. And they work and they pay taxes, and this money now goes to these services to help.
Yes.
And you didn't. What's unfortunate is that it seems that if this child hadn't died, this might never have come to light. You might have gotten away with it. And that doesn't speak well of you. because you had the opportunity to say something. And I have to say, I'm curious too, if you're there all the time, how do you not notice that the children perhaps aren't fed or that one's missing? How do you not notice
Your
that?
Honor, in our program for Bright Beginnings, when we go to the homes, we already have a visit schedule, so we know, we confirm with the
Still a very serious breach of trust. So your sentence as follows. In count 1, a felony of the 3rd degree to 36 months in prison. Count 3, a felony of the 4th degree, 15 months in prison. Count 7, a felony of the 3rd degree, 36 months in prison. Count 9, felony of the 3rd degree, 36 months in prison. All counts to be served concurrent to each other for a total sentence of 36 months. You will receive full credit for any time served. The court waives your fines, fees, and costs due to the remand. There is a restitution request, joint and several, between you and your co-defendant. Your portion is $5,029 payable to Ohio Jobs and Family Services. You will be placed on post-release control for up to 3 years. If you violate the conditions of post-release control, the parole board must impose an additional prison term for up to 1/2 of any prison term that I would impose. This is a discretionary period of post-release control, and that decision will be made alone by ODRC. Are there any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Obama.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.